Welcome to War Journal, Flames of War. And this podcast is our thoughts and discussions about the Flames of War games and other related interests. This episode is brought to you by Tracy George and Chaos Magic. We are not claiming to be experts of the game, but just wanted to have a casual conversation about Flames of War. Without any further delay, we now make our advance onto the podcast. And here are your hosts, Tracy and Arthur.
This is Tracy.
And I'm Arthur.
Welcome to War Journal, Flames of War, Episode 17, Disguises and Deceptions. What's on tap for today's episode, Arthur?
We have 6 topics of interest. We take another round at looking at Battlefront's homepage and front page news. I have a correction in That's Not All. We look at a stealthy German rule in National Tactics. In Recon, we discuss a funny YouTube clip. We start Chapter 2 of Art of War in Sun Tzu. And we end with an off-topic discussion on a board game, Dark Moon.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Battlefront Front Page news.
So as usual, we're going to go to the front page for Battlefront. And more Berlin's coming out. And we go a little further down, they're actually finally mid-war on the digital.
Yeah. It's not out yet, but it's coming out in the weeks.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw it, I got excited, so I'm like, I want to see what the list they have. Wait, I don't even see mid-war as a list. Go back. Oh, in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons, like, when we wanted to start to play mid-war, I had to get the books.
Yeah. Or
So we could play.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is good. And also, I was doing everything pencil and paper, which was not fun.
Oh, yeah, that's what time they call my list, but...
And so they're pushing out the Great War, some more stuff for that. And then, for a little further down, Breakthrough Assault's been previewing the Team Yankee stuff coming out. And the more I see it, the more excited I am for this game.
Yeah, like... Of the unit cards, the one that got me is, like, it mentioned that a platoon of Hinds. So, like, okay, that pretty much means they probably will be on the table.
Yeah. I've been reading that, and we'll do a review of it, Team Yankee, when we're both done with it. But they did have a Hind in there, and it hung, and then it kind of came up, and it shot and went down, and it moved to another position, and it came up behind the trees.
The Cobras also did that.
Yeah. So I'm really thinking that with the helicopters, they stay on the table.
Yeah, because you mentioned, like, the two, earlier in the book, 2 helicopters Cobras showed up, and then one popped up, fired, went down, moved, and then the other one popped up, fired, went down, moved.
Yeah, the Hinds kind of did that too. They kind of were, I don't want to give away what was going to happen, but they respected some stuff behind a hill, and so they came up to see and get ready to shoot. I'm not going to say what happened.
Yeah.
So I'm also thinking kind of ahead that I think this is the way 4th edition is going to be done. Because if you really think about it, that rule book is thick, and it's kind of intimidating. And if you look at the questions of the week, how much we miss and stuff like that, and the rules are confusing, I think they found out they need to start streamlining the rules. And like, okay, so now you won't have protected ammo. Here's your rate to get into the tank, which they did on these unit cards.
Yeah.
It's got protected ammo, it just doesn't say it. It's just, here's your rating for jumping back into the tank.
Like, one of the things, like, I can see about someone disappointed is, like, they mentioned they getting rid of the fluff aspect. You know, like, usually have the description of the rules and then the actual rules. And they're just going to send in the new rule book. They're just getting rid of the description. No, I can see why they do that, but I do find it interesting because it was like, there's some rules where I just read this, like, that makes no sense. Then you read the description of the rules, like, oh, that's why it's like that. Like why infantry can't move between trains, cars, or like, why wouldn't they? But in the description it says they don't know when and if a train will ever move. Oh. So they'd be hesitant to be between it if it starts moving. Which is like, oh, that makes sense why you can't move between that.
Well, maybe They said it was going to be like a living thing. Maybe they're going to print out the book and it'll have the fluff in it. But digital copy that you get that they keep updating will get the fluff out.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's gonna be something different. Because I agree with you. There has been times that I'm like, I don't understand it. Oh, now I understand because of what the fluff said.
Yeah.
But also I can understand where they're coming from. That they've got to knock this rule book down.
Yeah.
I
think that like you could just cut the book in half, just take it off.
Like what Team Yankees? What they said, 120 pages.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
Yeah.
That's giving a little history and stuff like that.
Scenarios.
So, and here you got the book right in front of you. How many pages is the Flames of War 3rd edition book?
280, maybe 290. My book is falling apart, which was falling apart at 15 minutes after I got it.
That's going to be over double thickness of Team Yankee book.
It's nearly 300.
Yeah, I think anything to help streamline the game, because I was also reading on the forums where people were talking about that even people that have played it for years and years and years are still referencing back to the book because of a rule that they're not sure about.
Yeah, if you get used to like playing one type of list, and you go play it over and over again, and then you change something now, and you maybe something you never used before. Like I have them filling on the questions of the week, cavalry, which I never used. So
yeah.
like,
Well, the only reason I know some of these is because I did those tutorials. Like I think I might know the cavalry one because I did the tutorial. I'm not saying I got it right. I might know that one. But otherwise, yeah.
I kind of flipped through and saw cavalry once and kind of read it. Like, oh, like that's interesting. And it didn't stick in my mind because I don't plan on playing cavalry anytime soon.
Yeah. So, for me, if they start going to these unit cards, it also looks like it'd be easy to organize your army together and they're lower points because from what the Breakthrough Assault guys said, it was a 100-point game.
Yeah.
Wow, trying to get people into the game. Just having unit cards and a small point value and a smaller rule book, I think is going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, remember, like a lot of other games are like that. Like War Machine and Horror is a big one, and they're built around like 50-point games, 100-point games,
right?
And just like really big, beefy things like 15 points. And like another game I'm trying to get into is Relic Knights, which is also a low-point game. It's just 10, 15 points for various units. So that's what you do with little points like that. It's easier to build a list because it's like when you get up to like 335 plus 208.
Yep. Kind of like when you play Warhammer, but I used to play 40K. Yeah, same thing. Okay, we're gonna play a 2,000-point list. Well, this costs 35, and this, and it's like
this is 3 points.
No wonder you need those, like what we're using now. Like the army builder type stuff. No wonder you kind of need those.
Yeah, I've never had army builders for like my Warhammer stuff.
Oh wow!
So like I used to do that everything by hand, but eventually like I started using a spreadsheet and like that helped so much. And then I started save my own version of my spreadsheet which have all my formulas. So I just plug in stuff here. But yeah, doing that by hand and just like okay now and I'm 30 points over. What do I cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and that's probably one of the hardest parts, both in Warhammer and in Flames of War. It's like if you doing it by hand, if you over.
Oh yes.
If you over, trying to figure out what you can cut. Especially Flames of War is like because everything's a weird point total. So using cards would probably make that much easier.
Yep, I agree. So I hope this is the direction they're kind of. I don't know if this is a playtest type thing, but I'm really hoping that this also with a Team Yankee isn't a short. Here's all we're doing for it, and we're done type thing. I hope they continue to expand beyond just that. What was it? It was a 2-month war. Yeah. So I'm hoping to keep expanding what's available in that game and just keep it instead of just 1985.
Yeah.
About 1984, 86, 87, throw some more. Maybe 85 on.
I'm sure other countries got involved. Because
there was I know there was West Germany, Poland. I'm trying to think some of them I can remember that was in that book.
In the intro, it mentioned
British, I think, was in there.
I mentioned France turning down Russia's offer to stay out of it. They say no, we're supporting. That's in the very beginning, which is Make me feel proud of France.
Yeah, I just hope they continue to expand because I think it's a winner for them to do more of the modern stuff.
I want to say someone from Battlefront mentioned that they will bring out other armies.
Well, good. I hope so. And if this is kind of where they're heading 4th edition, I'm all for it because I can see trying to get people to play now. Here you got these unit cards. You have 100 points. You could choose 0 one of these. You got to have 1 to 4 of these. You get some Hinds in here, you know.
Oh yeah.
So or Apaches or stuff like that. So
yeah. Especially like attack helicopters. I'm gonna see that can bring some people in.
Yes. And I don't know. Abrams. Actually, the tanks I saw, Soviets and Americans, they look really nice from the pictures. All right, so I think we're ready for. I don't think there's much left. There's still the campaign going, and I think that's about it. Questions of the week for us. All right, so we got 89, which is what we already answered, but we didn't have the answer at that time. Oh my gosh, this had that long list of A through H. All right, so it was a command tank is bogged down. In which step
in the player's turn
may the commander take over another tank? And we both said G, which was at the beginning of any step.
Yeah.
And the correct answer is H, at the end. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I guess it would if it's the assault. I guess it would matter.
Yeah, if it's at the end, that means the commander tank bogged down, and then do your risk stuff. Immediately at the end of that phase, you can jump in.
But what if it bogged? The thing I was thinking about, what difference is that going to make if it's in the assault step?
Yes.
Compared to beginning to end. If it bogs down and you can only do it at the beginning, you have to wait till your next turn.
Like, so if you move, it depends on when. Like, if infantry is here, you move up to there, but your commander bogs down. At the end of that step, you can jump in and then immediately assault.
Yeah.
So
it's more advantageous at the end.
Yeah.
It's definitely more advantageous at the end.
No, I'm not sure you want your commander to be in an assault and take a chance of dying, but
you don't want him. But you got to watch being out of command too.
That's true.
Because he'll hold everybody back.
That's a hard decision, I think.
Because if they're not being led, they're going to sit there.
Yeah.
I would still do it.
That's true. Yeah. I guess you need.
Well, if he's already bogged down, you know you're not going to assault with that tank.
Yeah.
So you're just going to have him get in, because now you're done with the shooting step.
Yeah.
You're going to have him get in that tank, but he's not going to assault.
Yeah.
The only place I can see this really coming into play, well, actually, anytime. Because what if he's got a special rule?
Well, that's true.
You'd want him ready. Well, the only time I can see it coming into play is because even if it's like at the shooting step, if it's at the beginning assault step, I'm going to jump in, and here we go. We're going to get ready to assault. The thing is, if it's done with the assault step, and your turn's pretty well over, if it's at the end, he can get into a working tank. If it was what we thought at the beginning, he's stuck in that bog tank.
That's true. Also, like at the beginning of your turn, like we roll, see, does it get unbogged? If you fail that, at the end of that step, is the beginning turn like a phase?
There's a starting step.
So
a starting step, which you check for morale and stuff like that.
And at the end of that, can you also have them jump in?
Yeah. It says at any step. And that's one of the steps. I think there's 4 steps. There's the starting step.
Okay, so that
move, shoot, assault.
So if he's bogged down, you try to roll the unblock, you fail. After another step, you can have him just get in a new tank, then move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it matters.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we both missed that, but it turned out better for the commander.
Yeah.
That we both missed that one. All right. So now we're on to a new question. A German grenadier mortar platoon is assaulted by a British rifle platoon. The assaulting infantry have managed to make base-to-base contact with all of the defending teams. The German platoon conducts defensive fire. The defending Germans are spread out, meaning that they can all draw lines of sight to the assaulting teams within and beyond 8 inches. The German platoon consists of 1 command SMG team and 4 8-centimeter GW-34 mortar teams. They are not pinned down. How many defensive fire shots will the Germans roll? And it's basically from 3 to 12.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do a little math here. So let's check this again. So we have a German. So we got the leader. Let me get this down. So we got a leader with an SMG. And then how many platoons, or how many
4.
teams? 4. 4 mortar teams.
Oh, they had the stats below that. Okay, that changes my answer.
Well,
Yeah, that definitely changed my answer.
aha. Okay, I've got my answer.
My answer is I now.
Oh, let me get me, you. Okay, you say I, which is 11.
Yep.
I am going to go with, and there's 4 mortar teams, right?
Yep.
I'm going to go with 8, which is F. Now, the reason I don't know what the answer is down there. I'm going to go through my reasoning for this,
Okay.
and you go through yours. Mortars can't shoot within 8 inches, and you can only shoot what's assaulting you, and only those within 8 inches of you. Unless this British got some special rule that I don't know about, you can only shoot what's assaulting you, and they're going to be within 8 inches, so you can't use the mortars. So they have to be riflemen, which is 1 shot. And then the submachine gunner is going to get his 4. Wait, submachine guns gets 4, right?
3.
I'm going to change my answer.
So
7. Okay, so I'm going 7 plus the 4 from the different, 1 from each team, plus the 3 from the submachine gun. So I'm going to go 7. So I'm going to say E. That is my thinking on that.
Yeah.
And so what was your thinking with 11?
The mortars were ready to fire too. So,
You may be right. I'm just thinking, if I remember right, you can only shoot what's actually assaulting you. And there, you have to be anything 8 inches in can assault. Everything else is non-assaulting.
oh, yeah, minimum range of 8 inches.
But you know what? I could be wrong, but the correct answer is E. Woohoo! I was right. So 3 shots from the command SMG team. Yeah, I thought it was 4, but it was 3. 1 shot from each of the 4 mortar teams, being forced to use gun teams can fire as rifles rule. Mortars 8 inches minimum range prohibits the weapon use during defensive fire. All right, that was kind of a tough one. Now the one we're both just going to totally fail. Cavalry. So this is question, what number is this one? 91. All right, an infantry platoon fails its motivation test to counterattack the assaulting cavalry teams and therefore have to break off. All of the infantry teams in their break-off movement between 4 inches and 8 inches from the assaulting cavalry teams. Which of the infantry teams survive? So we have A, none. All the infantry teams within 8 inches of the assaulting cavalry team are destroyed. B, teams that aren't in line of sight. C, teams that are in buildings. D, teams that are in rough terrain. E, teams that are behind linear obstacles. I'm going to go with that.
I have no idea, so I'm going to say D.
D. I said C. Because I know cavalry can do nothing to people in buildings. I was like, cavalry's pretty cool. I was reading the rules, and I think they get the extra if you can't get beyond the 8 inches, but they cannot assault anybody in a building. They can't even shoot. If I remember right, they can't even shoot people in a building.
And that's
And next week. So, cavalry's really nice, but when things are in a building, they suck. And they can't, they'll never assault a tank, if I remember right, also. Which means any armored vehicle they will totally avoid. But they're quick, and as you see here, when they assault infantry, you have to move even further away.
Yeah. No, that kind of reminds me of a scene from Rambo 3, which they got cavalry and they use the Molotov cocktails on the tank.
I kind of can see why they don't add it to the game, but in realistic
But
terms,
they might have some rules like some grease or Easter like fighters might get to ignore that rule with their cavalry.
maybe.
Alright, step right up, step right up. Have I got a tank for you? It has a rate of fire of 10, even on the move. In addition, it shoots 40 inches. Also, it has an anti-tank of 20 with a 1+ firepower. All this can be yours for the low cost of 825 points each.
I'm not sure.
But wait, that's not all.
All right, so Arthur, you have something you want to correct or something?
2 podcasts ago, I was talking about the World of Tanks, and I was talking about the Panzer IV-H experimental tank, and it had like a hydraulics experimental system that allowed it to go underwater or go through water. That was so wrong. Man, that was wrong. Basically, it was like it had a different transmission. That's what the hydraulic part came from. I realized I would start saying that like I have no idea exactly what it is. And then I looked it up after, so of course I was, woo! Reality, where I'm at. 3 miles apart. But yeah, like it's what the experimental Panzer IV-H was. It just had a different transmission system. I'm not exactly sure how it worked, but that was the different part. And they dropped it because it really didn't have the tools to fix it. And I think it might broke down a lot.
What? So it's a hydraulic system?
Yes.
Well, then it sounds like maybe it's easier shifting it. You put it there, but the piston, the hydraulic system does the shifting for you.
Yeah.
Instead of like, so you got this hydraulic system shifting it. You put it where you want, but then the hydraulics.
Yeah.
Now, see, I could be totally off too. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think something like that to make it swap easier, but it still has some difficulty. And I think one thing was like didn't have the supplies to help repair them if they went into mass production.
Yeah, it's just another part. So I'm thinking the hydraulic system, and if that fails, it's not going to change gears.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe other people do. They can let us know.
Yeah, I would love to know exactly what the experimental tank was and why they dropped it. Other than they was losing and didn't have a lot of resources to apply to it.
All right.
This is your in-depth reporter, Tiger Sherman, from Military Times News, and our continuing coverage of national tactics.
All right, Arthur, you wanted to hit something this week with national tactics.
Yes.
Found something interesting?
Yes. This is a rule I think I might have used once, but it's something I see in a couple of my German lists that I'm considering picking up. It's usually for a team that's called, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ersatz? ERSATZ.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't speak German either, so
Ersatz.
Sounds good. Where are you getting this rule from?
This one is in Devil's Charge, but I've seen these options in other books.
Okay.
Basically, they're like German tanks painted up as U.S. tanks.
Oh.
The rule I'm going to talk about is enemy disguise. A platoon equipped with enemy disguise must be identified before the enemy can shoot at it or assault it. These units start the game unidentified. And it works like this. If a platoon equipped with enemy disguise shoots, conducts anti-aircraft fire, or launches assaults, they immediately identify by all enemies. Of course. If I start shooting you, then you know I'm not on your side. When you shoot at me, first you need to make a skill test. if you pass the skill test, you identify the platoon, and you can shoot at it or bombardment as normal. The German units now identify to all enemy platoons.
Okay, that was my next question. Okay.
If they fail, they do not identify the unit, but may shoot or bombard other German platoons instead. Enemy recon teams may attempt to shoot or bombard a platoon equipped with enemy disguise automatically. They automatically identify them if they're within 8 inches.
Ooh, within 8, okay.
AOP or bunkers cannot identify a platoon equipped with enemy disguise. Aircraft cannot choose a team that's not been identified as an airstrike target.
Interesting.
So, I think I might have only used it once. It was like when I had like I forget what they called. Oh, the command group.
I do remember the command group because I don't remember you running them.
Okay.
I do remember you running that command group that was screwing up my artillery.
Okay.
They kept going, oh, the enemy's not there? All right, guys, don't shoot. Don't shoot. And I was like,
No,
hey, we're there.
No. Things are good. You don't need it.
And I was like, because I think you just had to roll a skill test or something to affect my men with, that's a different rule, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that because I remember back to that game. Yeah, I was not happy with your dudes.
Yeah. In that army, I could take these guys in my units, but I can't remember if I took them or not.
I don't remember you. I do not remember you taking the tanks.
Okay.
I do remember the men that ran behind enemy lines.
I guess I was just worried about, like, it just seemed to be so easy to get around that. But also, if you have the AOP, then it'd be useful against that, and it's good against your aircraft.
Yeah. The AOP can't find it, right?
Okay. And bunkers can't do it.
Now, how close does anybody have to be to it?
No, you shoot at it, you have to make a skill test. If you fail, you cannot shoot at them. If you do, anyone can shoot them from the rest of the game.
Okay, so that recon has to be within 8 automatic.
They get auto-identified within 8 inches.
So if I don't identify them, you can still shoot at somebody else.
You can shoot at someone else.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what the point deal is on it, you know. I don't know.
So, like
It
I
seems-
said,
if you're going against conscripts, though,
have fun with that.
let me park
like
myself on the objective here.
Because in this list, I could take 3 different vehicles with that: Stugs, Panthers, and Panzerlats. It's a recon team.
Now, is it all under one thing? You can only choose one of them, or are they 3 separate
this is
choices?
separate. Like in here, I could get the Panther one, and then I could get a normal Jaeger platoon or something else, and then another one is like a Stug. And
So you actually could do 3 in one
in this list.
army list or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do believe there's in the Bridge of Remagen book. I forgot to bring it. But yeah, I remember seeing these pictures of the German tanks in the U.S. colors all the time.
They also put like some wood and painted the wood around the tank to make it look more American.
Mm. So one of the things, like, I think thought about, I read a book, considered using it, but I've never used it yet. But
It'd be interesting to see the point difference because I could see playing for flavor
yeah,
if it's like it cost a couple more points. Okay, let's do it. But if it costs a lot more, I don't know if it's going to be worth it.
yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to see, like, is there a list in here that has well, okay, there are Panthers in here, and yeah, stat wise is the exact same. Oh no, wait. Ooh, they also have. These have limited vision, which may be due to the.
Oh, the extra stuff they put on.
Well, the Panthers do, the Stugs do not.
Yeah, I think they did the Panthers to make them look like tank destroyers or Shermans or something. I remember reading about that thing.
Panthers were done up to look like America's M10 tanks.
Yeah, so tank destroyers, yeah. I think they put like wood around the turret.
The commander's cupola was removed from the turret, and the outer storage was removed from the hull. But yeah, they have limited vision. So I forget what that rule
I think if
was.
you have to turn a turret, it counts as if you moved.
Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
So this is where they need all these special rules taken care of. There's a lot of rules. All right, well, again, it just depends upon the point and break on it. If it, you got the extra points,
Yeah.
and it's cheap, yeah. And if you're going against conscripts, boy, if you're going against conscripts, that's going to be worth it.
That's kind of nasty against conscripts.
Trained, maybe. Veteran, I don't see it being effective.
Yeah, it's just like, and also the fact that once someone sees them, everyone
Right.
sees them is like just not that good.
So yeah, if the points are cheap and you've got it, I don't see any problem because somebody could always roll a 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is the thing though to think about. If they are not shooting at it, they can't identify it.
Yeah.
So it's what's shooting at it. They're dedicating that to shoot at them.
Yeah.
To identify them. So if they're out of 16 inches, those guys can't identify them, I would think, because they can't shoot them.
Yeah. You have to be able to shoot them first.
Now, what about spotters, like artillery?
I think it's at. Oh yeah, it includes spotters.
Okay.
For when you because it says mention or is the target for artillery bombardment.
So spotter's not going to have. So spotter's going to have an easier time. Well, no, it doesn't matter about easier time.
Yeah, it's still.
I'm thinking about the over 16,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter with this situation about the skill check.
Yeah.
So,
So.
but then again, if he is spotting that, that's where the
That's what-
artillery strike's going to go.
Yeah. Which may not be a bad thing, because.
And if it's an infantry company or a mech company, they don't have much anti-tank. If you stay out until you shoot,
Yeah.
you can get set up to move in for an assault.
Yeah. So it offers a wide range of different tools for a game that I'm just not used to. So it's like I really would like to try them out just to see what I can, what tools I can bring out to the table, what different tactics I can bring. Yep.
Something different.
Yep.
All right, soldier, at ease. What is it?
Sir, I just got the Recon report in. There's some interesting developments in it. The report says,
All right, so you found a video on YouTube. You had me watch it.
But it was
and-
interesting.
Yeah, it was short too. It was like 8.5 minutes long, and it was the 5 most bizarre battles of World War II. This is Genius, and it's on This is Genius's channel. And so they go through some of these 5 different battles that happened in World War II some of the most bizarre by this list.
Yeah.
And the first one was the Aleutian Islands, which is up by Alaska, and the
Yeah.
Japanese invading there, and then the U.S. trying to take it back. And they were talking like they were bombing, and the Japanese weren't there, and then they invaded, and the Japanese weren't there, and then they were shooting at flocks of birds that they thought was, or I guess radar saw them and thought they were enemy Japanese aircraft.
Like I said, like when they invaded on land, the Japanese already left like 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah. I'm not so sure how true all of that. This is the one I really kind of maybe know a little bit about, because I remember the Aleutian Islands, there was some pretty bad battles that happened there between the Americans and Japanese. Because I saw a documentary on it, and some of those people, veterans, went back to visit where the battles were, and the Japanese erected some monuments, for respect to what happened there, and the Americans, there were some that were like, get this off here. This is from Japan. It does not belong here. Because they lost some friends and stuff during the battle. So I don't know. Maybe it was a certain part of the Aleutian Islands that this is true, but there was some that they did actually fight.
They also didn't mention that this was the bloodiest part of the list. They mentioned that this was the most bloodiest of their bizarre battles they was going to talk about. And from what they talked about, they didn't mention a whole lot about the bloody stuff. So
Right.
it was probably stuff they left out.
Well, they did say some of the Americans shot their own
Yeah.
people in it, so friendly fire. But I do remember that documentary and how mad at least one or two of the veterans were about that Japanese. The Japanese made it, and and here this is for honoring your men, and what happened here and all this, and he was mad because that was there. So maybe it was just this part of Aleutian Islands that they're talking about, not the whole campaign.
Or they're just picking up points of the campaign that was just weird.
Yeah. So I guess that's probably what it is. And then there was something about a PQ-17 or transporting supplies to the Eastern Front.
Yeah,
This one was kind of. I put some notes here about this. This one is kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
So some reason they split up the ships, and the submarines were taking them out. So they had this ship. I guess it was more like a fishing ship or something.
Yeah.
That they made into an anti-submarine ship, and he had 2 or 3 merchant ships following him, and they got stuck in the ice.
Yeah. He had 3 because there was a total of 4 ships.
Yeah. And so they got a white paint, painted the ships. Then he had Shermans brought up onto the deck
To make a battleship. Now, like, almost want to, like, model like a battleship. Just put on, like various tanks on there. Like, this is about battleship. That's a fishing ship with tanks on it.
Yep. Well, he made it back. And apparently he had no map either. And he made it back, and he got some award for what he did.
Yeah, it's just weird.
The next one was they called Streetcar Blitzkrieg.
Yeah.
Which was I think it was Dutch. Yeah, it was Dutch. They couldn't get. The Germans had engineers or something.
Yeah,
behind the lines.
And then they got surrounded, so they dropped paratroopers to help them, but they couldn't get through. So the German commander decided, like, put his men on like a streetcar, and then pretty much ran the positions to get in there. That worked, but he didn't have a escape plan because he was also stuck in there.
Yeah, but he got through.
You're like, well, how'd this work? Oh, how are we gonna get out? Good question.
And then there was the British invasion of Iceland, and Iceland had no army.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see what they were thinking about. That where it's right, like almost right between the United States and Britain.
Yeah.
And if Germany got port there or something like that going.
It mentioned it was a viable strategic location, but it's like it just sounded like they kind of rushed the gun because people they sit there wasn't prepared to fight. There was no enemy there to fight.
Yeah, and Iceland is like they didn't tell anybody either.
Yeah.
They just said, "Here we are," and then I guess the villagers grabbed one of the British guy's guns and put a cigarette on it and threw it to the ground and says, "Be careful with it."
We're like, what?
And they had one aircraft. The British had one aircraft there.
Or rather, like there was only one plane in Iceland. So that's when the German guys were like, huh. I wonder what that is.
So there was that one, and it was actually not even a battle. There was no battle there at all.
It was like an invasion. It was like, there's no one to fight.
And the final one was Battle for Castle, I want to say Itter?
Itter, yeah.
Itter.
Yeah. That was one of the most interesting to me.
Yeah, so we had imprisoned French VIPs is what I have down.
Yeah, they had those, had a tennis star.
Yeah, they talked about that, and then it was a French leader that his wife or girlfriend or something was one of them.
Yeah, it mentioned in wives, so and children was also imprisoned there.
And this just happened after Hitler committed suicide.
It was like 2 days after Hitler committed suicide. They were trapped. They were imprisoned in a Castle Hitler by the SS. The SS guys left, and then one of the prisoners escaped, ran into Americans to ask for a force to rescue everyone else. They sent 20 guys,
yeah,
2 tanks.
I couldn't get the numbers, 14 or 40. I think I couldn't catch whether 14 or 40. In the one tank.
And 2 tanks. They left 1 on the bridge.
Okay.
And 10 British and 10 German guys who wanted to surrender.
Yeah, so they joined
Yeah.
this force.
They're like, we surrendered. Okay, help these guys rescue people. Okay.
But then,
So
a
they,
couple days, what was it, the next couple days later?
or like when they got there, they start freeing the prisoners. And then the SS came back and forced and surrounded them.
Yeah. And they were about, not the SS, the SS was about to win.
Yeah.
And then the American and British and the German,
Yeah.
German team that was German people that were helping them, got reinforcements.
Yeah. And got help before they got massacred. And then it was like 5 days after Hitler died. And I think 2 days before German unconditional surrender.
And what it said also was this is the only battle where Americans and Germans were on the same side.
Yeah, fought on the same
but
side.
they fought Germans. Wait.
Yeah.
So we had Americans, Germans
Fighting Germans.
fighting the same side against Germans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the German commander died. And they mentioned it in the video, and I looked up in other Wikipedia entries, mentioned like he died from a sniper, but at the time he was getting like, I think a French ambassador or VIP and trying to get them down for cover when he got hit. And I think Austria has hailed him as a national hero.
All right, so
And he has a street named after him in,
really?
yeah, I think an Austrian village named the street after him for his.
Interesting. All right, so out of 5, I do stars. I do star generals, and you do iron crosses. Out of 5 being the best, I'm going to give this one a 3-star general. It was okay. I just wish it went. I wish it would have been like one video and gone more in depth.
Yeah.
On what was happening instead of these really quick. It is quick though.
It's quick and there's also a lot of jokes and funny.
Yeah.
So I also give it a 3. I felt the same way, but I have personal interest in to go look these events up.
That's true.
Which I will be doing, especially the Castle Hitler.
That is bizarre. But that was the number 1 one.
Yeah, that was number 1.
That was the number 1.
All right, soldier, you will shape up and you will listen, because we are now going to talk about Sun Tzu and the art of war. Attention!
All right, we are ready for a new chapter, chapter 2.
Yeah.
Waging war.
Yeah. Just want to add, I got some new books from various libraries, and their translations are quite a bit different. So
Yeah.
this might give us a little look at Sun Tzu.
All right, so number 1, Sun Tzu said, "In the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li, the expenditure at home and at the front, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, and some spent on chariots and armor, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men." Now, what I got here is a li equals almost 3 miles.
So in general, it's just saying, waging war is expensive.
Yes. You would, yeah, keeping them up, keeping the upkeep, feeding them,
And if you're not used to waging war, it's probably more expensive than you think.
all right. Well, I don't see that coming into play in Flames of War, but something to think about if you're battling. Number 2, when you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, the men's weapons will grow dull and their ardor will be damped. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. And again, this is about cost of war each day. Now you're prolonging that. The the men's weapons, it sounds like getting dull, won't be getting their upkeep. Men will be, I'm done with this. I'm tired.
Yeah, it'll be like in Band Brothers, the winter battle, how it just dragged the morale of the team down. But it is over time, it will just drag you down.
Yeah. All right. So again, this one I don't see. Well, I can see a game dragging people down after 4 hours of playing.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm kind of like done, guys.
Yeah. So basically, it says like if you take too long to win, well, let me just read this version of it. When one employs battle, if victory takes long, it blunts the military and grinds down in sharpness. Attacking walled cities, one's strength is diminished. If soldiers are in the field, long in the field, state resources is insufficient.
It is so interesting hearing these two different translations.
Yeah, and it's very different, but says essentially the same thing.
Yep. Actually, I think it makes it more understandable hearing it both ways. Okay, so number 3. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. So yeah, your men are getting their morale's dropping. You're having to pay for all the supply and food to keep that up, and so those resources aren't spent other places.
Yeah.
So right now, I don't see anything except for that long delay or that one about going on and on, like if you're playing a game for a long time. Yeah. That's the only one I can see. So number 4, and this is where we're going to end this chapter or this segment. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardor. I don't have ARDOUR. That's French or something. Your ardor damped, your strength exhausted, and your treasure spent. Other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. Then no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. So this almost sounds like they'll fill the vacuum.
Yeah.
You know, what you were waging out there is just totally falling apart, and these guys have come in to fill in the vacuum, and you've lost that.
Also, can see is like if the cost of your victory is too much, someone else would take advantage of you and attack you because you're weak now.
Yep.
And I think this book's version says this. Now, if one blunts the military, grinds it down in sharpness, diminishes its strength, and exhausts its goods, then feudal lords rise once distressed and rises up. Even one who's wise cannot make good aftermath. So yeah, if you get attacked now, you're in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened like with Germany. They started getting so spread out. That's a lot of wars, you know, if you get too spread out. So I'm going to see how to pronounce this. It's ardor. Ardor is how you pronounce it. I just looked it up.
And your weapons are dull, you're dampened, and your they don't mention this at all in here, I don't think.
That word?
Yeah, I think it's military.
Well, let's see. Here, let's see where they use. They go, okay, now when your weapons are dulled, your ardor damped. Ardor is enthusiasm or passion.
Yeah. And here it just mentions your strength and you use off your goods. So, yeah.
All right.
And now for something completely off topic.
All right, we recently played a game called Dark Moon. Oh gosh, where's my lid here? It is by Stronghold Games, and used to be online for free where you print it and play it. BSG Express, which is Battlestar Galactica Light, that's what people call it. And so he had to retheme it, and you're on Mars, and somebody got infected and is trying to sabotage the Mars ship, or your station here, your miners. Not under 18, but mining ore miners.
Oh.
Okay. So, and you have a character that has special abilities, like if they repaired a shield, they get dice back. If one repairs this, they get dice back. Some gets re-rolls. And so you get to pick which character you want. And then it's a secret identity. You start with, depending upon the players, 1 or 2 people infected, the rest are not. And you don't know who's infected and who's not. And on your turn, you have a choice of doing one thing, which is like repair part of the ship. Or you can say, I think this person's infected. You can try to have them in quarantined so you limit what they can do. You're just never really sure, for the most part, who's not infected and who is.
Something I did not know is like there's 3 different cards that are affected. Each one has a different power.
Yeah, that's why they said, like, when you are looking at your card and you're not infected, just look at it for a while. This gives time for the infected person to read their card so they know what they can do when they flip.
Yeah.
And you do have dice. I forgot to mention this. You get dice to roll, and most you have is 4, except if you're a commander, you'd have the special blue die. But 4 of the 6 spaces on these dice are negatives.
Yeah.
And 2 are positive. That's on every die.
So that's really bad.
And you roll, when you have to do something, you roll the dice behind your screen. Nobody sees what you roll, and you put out, this is what I rolled, guys, and it may be positive, maybe negative. And if you're still a good guy, and all you rolled was negative, it kind of makes, did you really roll all negatives, or did you get a positive?
Except for, since the dice are so bad, it's usually like having like rolled nothing but awful stuff happens a lot. So it's not that suspicious.
Yeah. Well, you have to roll these to repair a place, like to repair the shields, or somebody's in, what do they call it?
Life support?
Yeah, they're fatigued or something. It's on the other side here. You are fatigued, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't do your special ability. If you're fatigued, your token's gone into the life support section. You can try to repair that. You could try to repair the shields, because if shields get all the way full, you lose. If everybody's fatigued, the humans lose.
Yeah.
And then if there's 6 different locations in the outpost status, if those get all filled up, the uninfected lose. And the infected's trying to have one of these go off so we can win the game. And the non-infected win if they complete 4 missions.
Yeah.
That are up at the top. And you roll these dice secretly, and you place them out. And, of course, the infected could roll positive, but put out negative dice.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm sorry, guys, I rolled all negative, which is a possibility, because most of the sides are negative.
Yeah. Also about the 3 status. Shields, until you have 6 shields, does not do anything.
Right.
However, the 6 statuses, each status does something bad for the group.
Yeah, they do, you can't repair shields, or you can't repair the life support, or you can't you can't quarantine somebody.
You can't quarantine. You can't go on a mission try to help on the mission by yourself. That's another one of them. So each one of the outpost statuses does something, and the same thing with the life support.
Yeah. And it's real easy to take care of too, because you just roll 3 dice behind your board. Most you can roll is 3, and then if one of those is positive, you put it out there. You get to take off whichever one you want. If it's negative, you still put the negative die out, and every time you do that, you lose that die.
Yeah.
And really, the only way to get dice back is if it comes back to your turn, you fill back up to 4, and you get to choose any of the dice that are out here. There's those good dice and bad dice, I'm going to call them. The black dice have better positive numbers than the red dice, and if they're out there, you can take them. The only one you can't take is the commander die.
Unless you're the commander.
And the other way is when, at the end of the turn, the person draws in 2 task cards, and some of those are, hey, we need to roll dice and get a total of 8.
Yeah.
Between everybody that's going. And people in turn saying whether they're in or out. If they're in, they're going to put dice in to try to complete it. If not, they're out. They get up to 2 dice. You can only have 4 dice at the most. So they get to take dice, but they're out of trying to complete that mission. So that's the only way. So when you spend a die, it's gone, and you're down now 3 dice. You spend another one, now you're down to 2 dice. So you kind of have to wait for that mission to come up and pass, which sometimes you're like, guys, I would like, you're one of the good guys, and you know the infected's in this mission and it's going to try to screw you over. But sometimes people have like 2 bad dice left, and they're going on the mission because like we got to try to complete it.
Also, the fact that don't always want to put out bad stuff because that might give themselves away. So
right.
They need to balance trying to sabotage it and also trying to keep their identity safe. Because if the infected is actually quarantined, that really limits what they can do.
Yeah, because you can only when you're quarantined, you can only you could call a vote, and I can't remember what the other thing was. Because I was quarantined, and you can have 2 dice at the most.
Yeah. You cannot repair or lone wolf.
Okay, so you can't take care of the shield situation, the outposts, or if somebody's fatigued, you can't help them there. You can't lone wolf to try to complete a mission, which I don't see anybody lone wolfing except for that person that gets a reroll. Yeah. Because that's rolling 3 dice, and you have to have 2 of those dice come up positive.
Of course, it's like you have everything else that's taken care of, then if you have nothing else better to do, then you might do it.
But the only reason you would be quarantined is because people think you're infected.
Yeah.
Which, man, it's rough being quarantined. But if you are quarantined, when you're infected, one of your things you can do on your turn is you can go, okay, I'm revealing myself as infected, and then sometimes it's like throw a couple of shields down, tokens down, which could end the game.
Yeah.
Or add more people to be fatigued. But if you're quarantined, you don't get to do that when you flip your card over.
Yeah. So you don't want to flip till you get out.
Yeah, and you don't want to flip too early either, because then they're just going to quarantine you. Well, you can't be quarantined.
You can't be quarantined when you're out, but it's like you're very like instead of like I guess your role changes with what you can do. Like that's still a person's hidden. You can, like I said, you pick your task by secret. Other people don't know, so you can always try to pick tasks that hurts the party.
Right.
But if you're openly affected, then you take tasks and put like.
I don't think you can do the task.
You can.
I'm kind of looking here.
You don't do the task, but you can rearrange the task.
Oh, that's right.
Put them on top.
Okay, so on your turn, you retrieve all the dice you can, and it's only 2, and then you can. If there's only 1 or 0-1 shields, you can add a shield, which then may add another shield. There's a roll there. You can sabotage an area, which means people have to spend extra dice in an area for it to be repaired. Mm-hmm. You can do interference, which is this is what you were talking about. You draw 3 of those task cards and discard as many of those as you wish, and then put those back in order, whatever order you want. Demoralize. Now this one I think is pretty devastating. All uninfected players beginning to your left must replace all their, I want to say, good dice, the black dice, with red dice.
Yeah, they call it strong with your weak.
Until all the red dice that were available to be drawn are taken. And then you can also test the commander. And the commander must roll all of his dice and submit 1 of those. If he submits a negative dice or he has no dice to roll, you may draw any one of these tokens, like add a shield or one of these outpost things that's going to make it harder, like now you can't vote type thing, or add another person to be fatigued. So you got some things you can do. That sabotage thing's pretty nasty too.
Yeah.
But you don't want to reveal yourself too early either.
Yeah. And there's another on your turn you have so many choices to do. One choice we did not mention is issue orders.
That's right.
Which allows someone else to take 2 actions instead of 1 on your turn.
Except for they can't issue an order.
That just gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, if you do that to someone who's infected, they can reveal themselves as affected and use their powers twice.
Well, they can reveal themselves and then they're able to actually do. Yeah, you're right. They're able to do their power plus something else as the infected.
Yeah.
Now, there's one thing I did find that made the game easier, and we've only played a 4-player game. was that one where you can look at somebody's card.
Yeah.
If you took that card out that allows you to look at other people's cards, wow, this game would be so much harder.
Yeah, because both games like that came out fairly early, and that is a lot of information. If the person who draws it is not affected, because
Right.
you pick someone, if they show you your card, like okay, they're not affected, then you know you just limited yourself to 2 people in a 4-person game.
Right.
5-person five person has 2.
That's where I was going to get to next. I see this. Okay, 4 players is okay. I see probably this game shining more at 5, 6, and 7 player, because if you have 5 players, there's 2 infected people.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, you may know who one of those is and may be able to quarantine. Everybody can be quarantined.
Yeah.
If people vote, I mean, everybody. It's not like everybody's thrown in jail. Everybody's quarantined, which the infected people probably wouldn't be too bad about that. Too sad, because then things don't get repaired and all that. But when you play 5 player, I mean, there's 2 infected people. 6 player has 2. When you get up to 7, 3 people start infected. And I think that'd be a more interesting dynamic, because like you said, when we were playing 4-player game, that card kept coming up.
Yeah.
Boom, you eliminated one person. Okay, one of these 2 isn't, unless you're the infected one. One of these 2 people is infected.
Yeah.
And you just all you're doing is watching those 2 people, because you know this person and you are not.
Because like once you have the card and you ask someone for it, like you automatically know who they are. Because if you're affected, you don't want to reveal yourself. But if you don't, 4-person game, if you don't reveal yourself, they know who you are. And if they're already affected, they already know you're not affected. So that card is really, really powerful in a 4-player game.
And, well, also, if you do reveal, because they can't show what you can't go, oh, look, see, he's infected. They can look at it and then give it back to you and go, that person's infected. It's like, no, I'm not. You're just trying to get trying to get the blame off me, because you are really infected. But still, who are they watching? 2 players. So I think when it gets to the 5-player game, the dynamic's going to change.
Yeah. I don't know, I don't think the affected person would do that, because if the affected person do that, then the other 2 people will automatically know one of those 2 people are affected.
Right. But who's the second?
Well, I'm talking about in a 4-player game.
Oh, right.
In a 5-player game, then it's who knows what.
And then one reveals himself. The one that you already knew or something like that reveals himself. You still have the other one out there.
Yeah.
That's still screwing things over on you. So yeah, I like the game. It's quick. What was it, about an hour we played? 4 players?
I think the first one was an hour. The second one went by a lot quicker.
Yeah, we knew what to do.
We knew, like, boom, 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 boom.
I shouldn't say we knew what to win. We knew what to do on our turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to prepare this, or I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So
we wasn't learning the game as we play it the second time, so it went by so much quicker.
And I'm not infected. I want you to know that.
He's just mad because we always assume that he's affected, because he keeps saying I'm not affected, so we all assume he's affected. And in the first game, he was affected.
It was like, dang it, because you guys just accused me to accuse me and you quarantined me no reason. You just quarantined me.
I quarantined you because...
No.
That card we was talking about, I used it on someone else, saw his card, and then the other player played like...
He is the luckiest roller in the world.
In almost every game we ever play. But he played 13 points on one of the missions. So they're pretty much like, yeah, I don't think he's infected. That means Tracy's affected.
Okay, now I will say this, though. I thought you were infected in the second game. And then you threw out like 5 points towards completing the mission. And I was like, well, are you? Because it was between you and Daniel. And I was like, is it Arthur? Are you infected? Maybe it is Daniel, because I thought for sure it was you. And that was one of the things to get the...
Yeah, because at that point I think it was everyone was just looking at me being affected, so like I need to do something to like, no I'm not, without actually saying no I'm not. I'm just like
See, I helped. All right. So yeah, I would like to play this game, but I definitely would like to try it with 5, 6, or 7 players.
I think it'd be a lot funner.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up another episode of War Journal, Flames of War. Your host, Arthur and Tracy, thank you for listening to this episode. You can find us on iTunes. If you like the episode, please subscribe and leave a positive review. You can find us on Facebook at Flames of War. And please like us. In addition, you can follow us on Twitter at warjournal_FOW. You can also find us on YouTube. Search for Tracy George, Flames of War. You can read Arthur's blog at chaosmagicwizards.blogspot.com. Finally, you can email us at warjournalflamesofwar@gmail.com. War Journal Flames of War is all one word, so no spaces are required. Also, please share the show on any social media of your choice. So, until next time, as always, have a good game.